The Meg is directed by John Turteltaub and stars Jason Statham, Ruby Rose, Cliff Curtis, and among others. And this is a movie it's about a research team working in the deep sea marine. They're like marine biologists kind of people that basically investigate like different.
I believe where they're at is actually takes place off of I forgot the name of it. It's around the Philippines area,
yeah,
Asian area. It's actually considered, it's like the maritime, where they like to call it, but it's like a terrain inside the ocean that's actually the deepest part in the world.
Right.
Yeah. And if you don't know, if you haven't watched National Geographic, that's basically where it's at.
Basically, there's an event that happens to where these people end up going deep beneath the sea after doing some research on the different animals or different sea creatures, and a team gets stuck below, and they discover that there's actually an animal that they're seeing that's actually a megalodon shark that's from a prehistoric time. And it's up to Jason Statham's character, who's like an expert at basically hunting and
well, he's an expert at diving
and saving people in this type of field. And he's called in to pretty much rescue them. And we'll leave it there because we don't want to spoil anything else, but if you've seen the trailers, you kind of expect this from the trailers. It kind of makes you really think that it's like a high, big budget version of Sharknado, or like those other types of shark movies we've seen in the past.
It looks like it gives you in the trailers to not take it,
seriously. It's meant to go for that fun type of vibe.
Popcorn.
Now, here's some backstory. Now, the director, believe it or not, is actually pretty famous for movies in the past, like the National Treasure films, and he also did, back in the day of the 90s, he did Cool Runnings and Three Ninjas. So, the guy is a talented director. And
this is actually based off settings of books.
Yeah, it was on a popular book that came out on the Meg that I think had like 5 books in total, so it's an ongoing series.
And another backstory is this director, as you guys know, seeing this or hearing about it on the news, if you haven't seen it yet, is this film, which is a disappointing thing that it happened. This film was actually set to be a hard R. Yeah,
originally they had, I think it was in the early 2000s or somewhere around there. Eli Roth was originally the director that wanted to bring this movie to come out as a hard R version. He actually wanted to show like a lot of brutality and stuff, but the studio decided to go for more of that fun type of vibe to appeal to a wide audience.
Well, this director also came in when he was hired. This director, he actually also wanted to be a hard R.
Oh, okay.
And the studios told him no.
Yeah.
And then, well, it's a mixture of the studios, and I know that the MPA, he was bitching about the MPA really butchering everything, so he just went ahead and did a family.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, after seeing a lot of the trailers, it was one of those types of summer films that really piqued my interest, because since the movie was kind of going for that self-aware, dumb fun vibe, it really made me feel like, even though I could kind of forgive the rating if the movie really pushed a lot of that vibe.
Yeah.
And upon seeing the film, I can say that it was alright, but I will admit it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, it was alright. Actually, it was real. I knew not to take the film too seriously, but I expected it to be like extreme fun popcorn, like something like Independence Day.
Yeah.
The one back in '96.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was okay. It didn't have the popcorn extreme fun that I wanted
out of it. And that's coming from a guy who likes, fun shark movies. I mean, you're going to have your classics like Jaws or, stuff like that, but you'll have other ones like Deep Blue Sea or The Shallows, things like that give you that very thriller type of vibe. This movie was going for more
fun.
Yeah,
supposed to be
it's
fun,
basically.
I thought the fun was a little not there.
The film was approaching more of that vibe where if you don't like the Sharknado films, say on like the Sci-Fi Channel, this was basically the answer to that. It's like a big budget version of that series, where it's on the same type of level where it takes the fun vibe, but still making it in a Hollywood setting.
Yes.
So anyway, to get my pros out of the way, one of my biggest highlights for me the most is Jason Statham. Like, I always like the guy as an actor, and I feel like any movie that he's in, I'm always, looking forward to seeing. And he really carries this film a lot for me, because not only is he always charismatic as hell, but he's also got some great one-liners. He's very, he's got the mentality, the action hero mentality vibe. You know, it's just...
Yeah, Jason Statham, he's my favorite part. I expected that pretty much.
Because he just oozes with so much charisma that anything that he really puts himself into with these movies, especially in these underwater diving scenes, he really, you know, likes doing a lot of that stuff.
If you're expecting a Jason Statham that just punches 1,000 things, and you're not going to get that, but it's still Statham.
Yeah.
He still does what he does, and he has great chemistry with everybody. He blends in very well. I really like where him and this little girl dialogue back and forth together.
Yeah, and also I do like his banter with the other girl, the girl's mom.
The one that ends up liking him.
Yeah, I like their together, and I gotta admit that I was a little skeptical going into this, thinking they were gonna overdo this, but thankfully the effects they used for the shark I thought were pretty good.
Yeah, they actually had more practical, and upon seeing the trailer, I thought it was going to be a CGI nightmare, man.
Yeah, surprisingly, there's
a lot of practical.
Yeah, and the good thing was that when they do show the shark, a lot of it's underwater when it's used necessarily. Because what I don't like with a lot of shark movies is when they overly show the shark when it's above the water.
Well, the good thing is with this director, of course, with also Jason Statham, he did this. Jason Statham actually did a Tom Cruise thing here. He actually went swimming with sharks to learn to kind of learn the real thing.
I know.
Instead of doing that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, because he's also a professional diver in real life.
Yeah.
So I actually like that. But also, the effects they use they actually do mix in some... You're not going to get a lot of gore in this film like you're expecting, but there are moments where it does actually kind of get some brutality here and there on some of the stuff. Like, you'll see a whale get eaten, and there's even one part where you see, like, people getting devoured, but... But we'll get to our cons later. But I'm glad that they at least stuck to some blood.
Yeah,
what they could get away with.
Yeah, and it's a shame that some movies that we saw, like Shallows, another shark movie, got a PG-13. But boy, did they show a lot of blood and guts in that.
Yeah,
they get a PG-13. I just don't understand how some movies can get a pass, because according to what I've read about the director, MPA would not let him have any signs of human blood other than one little thing. He said only animal blood is the only thing allowed. Yeah. Though, to get my other pros out of the way before we get to more of that, I will say the film does have some good humor here and there that I was kind of laughing at, like especially when we get because we introduce Statham at the beginning of the film, and then when we get to reintroduce him again when he's brought in, it cuts to a part where he's in like Thailand, and it plays that Ricky You're So Fine song that I thought was really funny. Oh yeah, in the Asian version, Japanese version, or whatever it was. Or no, it's the real song. It's just it's playing, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty funny, because it cuts out. It's immediately following a scene previously that was meant to be kind of serious, and they're setting up how Statham's character is supposed to be kind of a drunk on his, and you know what, on retirement type of. Another thing I like to praise this film, and I'm going to take a shot at you. That one I saw with fucking Jennifer Lawrence, the Red Sparrow. Yeah, Red Sparrow. Yeah. I'm going to take a shot at Red Sparrow on this one. This one actually, because it indicates that they're off China shores. Yeah. So you get a lot of very authentic Chinese people speaking Chinese and Thai and all that. And like I said, I'm taking a shot at Red Sparrow because that movie took place in Russia and nobody spoke Russian in that movie. Yeah, this one they still kept to their native language in this, which was good. Like that. Similar like they did in a Skyscraper. Yeah. So that was good, but also one of the other things I meant, some of the cinematography really is outstanding, especially in the underwater scenes, because the fish and all that. But also the 3D helped with that too, because we saw this in 3D and we got some really cool pop out moments where it showed like the water coming out. It was kind of remind me of watching like Planet Earth. If you ever been to some of them amphitheaters out there in 3D. I've been to one before, and it's like National Geographic will have you like really detail like doing 3D stuff, and like it shows you the marine life. That's actually, they did pretty good in this one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and especially like some of the establishing shots. Like you see one guy who's like when it gets to the actual beach scene, you see one guy who's like kind of like ski or he's like in the water, and you see like the shark like right under there. Oh, they have some great shots where he's underwater, he's slowly moving. Yeah, the ice clear water, and you just see it dark, and you see his outline of the body. Yeah, that was cool. And also one of my favorite things about this film, and I'm going to praise. I'm not going to tell you it, but the climax. That was a good. That was a great climax. We won't spoil anything, but man, that was really cool. I like that.
Now, this is kind of where we get to some of our cons, because we do have like some more cons but the movie's kind of a mixed bag. But to get some of our cons out of the way, one of the things that I was really kind of disappointed with was that we didn't really get much of the action with the shark until pretty much the later half of the
Oh, I know. That kind of really irritated me. That was something I wasn't even warned by anybody. No one's even talked about that being their con. But I kind of thought that it deserves to be an issue with the film. This shark does not come in until really late.
Yeah.
You see him, like, you know his presence in some of the parts of the beginning half. But to me, I felt like there was way too much dialogue spread out.
The pacing was a lot of rinse and repeat back and forth, which I understand.
Yeah.
That's
slow.
Well, keep in mind, that's the vibe they were going for because of how Jaws did, where you build up to the shark. I get that, but I felt like when they actually do the shark attacks, it was short-lived. Well, I felt like they should have done more with that.
Well, that's the problem. They should have not done what Jaws did, because Jaws was a serious thriller. This was wanting to be fun, which is another part of my con. Is this film what's made a mistake that I don't think anybody's really brought up? It's self-aware, it's fun, but then there's a lot of parts that actually tries to take itself seriously. Yeah. It's like it's kind of hard whenever you got these
shift change.
Where you have
the
guy from The Office and all these other funny people making jokes. Where they shifted to more darker, it didn't very blend well with the
tone does kind of go off some shift changes that don't always blend well at times, especially when you have a serious scene that's happened and then immediately following someone will tell a joke right afterwards.
And these jokes, and I'm going to get to this con right here because I've been really wanting to do this. And like you said, and some of the jokes were kind of and some were there, but
this one is the comic relief.
Here's my problem, because we're on the cons now.
Yeah,
is that black guy that's in this one. I'm sorry, but he reminded me too much like the girl that played Ghostbusters in the reboot in 2016. She was the worst of the part of that movie. This guy, I feel like they're brother and sister, or she might have cut her hair and became a man, because this dude was fucking annoying as shit.
Definitely.
It was like one of those, like somebody's scratching chalk, because he's always like, he acted just like her in that movie too. I was like, good man.
He was saying similar lines to her from that, and a lot of this, it really seemed like he wasn't really an experienced actor, because a lot of his lines felt very obviously scripted.
Yeah, like he's not really he didn't he's probably the one that felt like least had any experience of acting. It felt like he was there. He felt like an actor.
Yeah,
and instead of anything else. It's so obvious.
And another big of my cons that I do have is...
And he kept bitching all the fucking time. It was getting on my fucking nerves. I'm like, does this dude not bitch at any part of this movie? Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the worst parts of it. Now, to get some other cons, I'll say, too, that this kind of goes back to how we were talking about with the shark. When we actually get to the climax near the end, when it's, all the stuff that promotes with the beach scene and everything... That is fun the way they do it, but it's very short-lived. I felt like when they actually do the shark attacks, it's probably because of the MPA possibly, but I felt like they really made it too quick for those.
Well, it's like this. The MPA would not let this guy slide over everything. So he goes, well, I can't do a long drawn-out scene like I was going to do, without any type of blood whatsoever in the water.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's why I think he made it short-lived. But still, if you guys remember, this movie was heavily promoted just for that beach scene. That was like what they promoted. Like marketing, the trailers, everything would just show us the beach thing. That is actually short-lived, not to mention, it's like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Because the rest of the film is them trying to get to the shark before that, but... It was very... I mean, it still paid off in the end, but when it gets to there, before it leads to our cool payoff, it is very, short-lived.
It's short-lived, and that was a disappointing. But, I go back to some of the pacing, like you were saying, some of the scenes that were just
rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat, And that's what was really kind of bothering me, too. It felt too much like, scene, where, some shit's... going down, and then we go back to dialogue. And then dialogue. And then shit goes down, and dialogue. And then shit goes down, and dialogue. And it was pretty much that same format. Kept doing that. I'm like, that kind of hurts the film, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I just expected way more popcorn fun out of this, and it was. It's not bad. It's just I was a little disappointed in the popcorn fun. I don't think the popcorn fun is strongly there.
Yeah, I do find a little bit more like the popcorn slightly more in you, but I still agree. Yeah, the film was trying. It should have went more of that level that we were kind of expecting.
Well, I was expecting to at least have a blast. I knew the story. Don't take it seriously.
But overall, with that being said, I still, while I did have a lot of issues with the movie, I still overall felt like it was a good time.
Yeah,
at least seeing it, especially in 3D.
It was okay. It was in.
With that being said, I'm going to give it just a average Joe on the Film Freaks meter.
Yeah, I'm going to go with an average Joe on the Film Freaks meter too.
Fair enough. And for those of you who have also seen the Meg and also read the book, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what we see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out more of our reviews here on our channel and at our website at www.filmfreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Later.